I want you to stop what you're doing and listen to me. Not because I have all the answers, but because I am 84 years old, and I just realized something so devastating, so quietly devastating, that I have not slept right in 3 months. I spent 63 years building a life for a man who no longer exists. That man had ambitions. He had a plan. He had a version of himself he was working toward: the house, the respect, the title, the security. He sacrificed that version of himself. He gave up mornings with his children. He gave up evenings with his wife. He gave up friendships and rest and music and laughter, all for a man he was going to become someday. And that man never arrived. What arrived instead was me, an 84-year-old man sitting in a quiet house, looking at the life I built, and understanding, for the first time, that I built it for someone else, for a younger version of myself that died somewhere around 1987, and nobody told me. Nobody had the decency to pull me aside and say, "Harlan, the man you're building this for is gone. Stop. Today I'm going to tell you what I wish someone had told me. Not gently, not with comfort, with the truth. Because you are doing the same thing I did right now, today. And if you stay with me until the end, you may just have enough time to stop. Let me tell you about the man I was building a life for. His name was Harlan, too. He was 21 years old, and he was hungry. Not for food. We had enough of that, barely, in our house in Memphis, Tennessee, 1963. Hungry for something bigger. Hungry to prove something. See, when you grow up black in Memphis in the early 1950s, you spend a lot of time being told, not in words, but in the way the world operates around you, that you are less than. You sit in the back of the bus, you use the separate entrance, you drink from the separate fountain, and something happens to a child who grows up like that. Something quiet and dangerous. You decide to prove them wrong. That was my fuel. That was the engine that drove everything. Every early morning and late night, every indignity I swallowed, every time I outperformed and got overlooked, every time I dressed twice as sharp to be taken half as seriously. I did it for that 21-year-old Harlan, that boy who looked at the wall they'd built around him and said, "I will get over it. I will prove I deserve to be on the other side." And Lord knows I worked. I worked at the Memphis shipping yards for 12 years. To 12 years of physical labor that I am still paying for in my joints and my back. I worked nights while my children slept. I worked weekends while my wife, Della, learned to stop expecting me home for dinner. I got a promotion in 1971. First black supervisor at that yard in 40 years. You know what my boss said to me? He said, "Harlan, you work harder than any man in this place." He meant it as a compliment. I took it as one. It took me 50 more years to understand what he was really saying. He was saying, "You have to work harder, because this place wasn't built for you, and it will never stop reminding you of that." But that 21-year-old Harlan? He heard something else. He heard, "Keep going, you're winning." So I kept going. And I want to ask you something before we go any further. What are you working for? Who are you building your life for? Because I want to guarantee you something. That version of yourself you're chasing, that person you're going to become once you get the promotion, once the mortgage is paid off, once the kids are through college. That person is changing every single day. And you are sacrificing your real life for a moving target. Think about that. And don't look away. I want to tell you about a Tuesday evening in September of 1978. My son, Marcus, was 9 years old. He came to me in the living room. I was going over paperwork from work, as I always was, and he had a baseball in his hand. He said, "Daddy, you want to play catch?" I said, "Not tonight, Marcus. Daddy's got work." He stood there for a moment, just stood there holding that baseball, and then he went back to his room. He is 55 years old now, and we speak maybe twice a year, at Christmas, on my birthday. Our conversations are polite, they are careful. They are the conversations of two people who love each other from a distance that was built so slowly, one missed evening at a time, that neither of us noticed until it was too wide to cross. I think about that Tuesday all the time. Not because it was the worst moment between us. It wasn't. It was just a Tuesday. Just one more Tuesday in a long line of Tuesdays where the paperwork came first. That's the thing nobody tells you about slow damage. It doesn't feel like damage while it's happening. It feels like responsibility. It feels like sacrifice. It feels like love, the kind of love that provides, that protects, that secures the future. But there's another kind of love, the kind that shows up, the kind that says, "Marcus, hand me that baseball." I didn't know the difference until it was too late to go back and be that father. The 21-year-old Harlan I was building a life for. He was going to be a great father, eventually, when things settled, when the work was done. The work was never done, and my son grew up in the space between what I intended and what I actually did. If you have children, and I don't care how old they are, I need you to hear this. The version of yourself you're becoming won't remember these years the way you think you will. But your children will. They are recording everything, every presence, every absence, every Tuesday. Don't make them archive a father who was always almost there. If this is sitting somewhere uncomfortable inside you right now, good. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you goes even deeper. And subscribe to this channel, because this is a conversation that takes more than one video to finish. There are truths I haven't told you yet. Stay close. Here's the part that broke me. In 2019, I went to my doctor for a routine checkup. I was 79 years old, and he asked me something simple. He said, "Harlan, what do you enjoy? What do you do for yourself these days?" I opened my mouth to answer, and I had nothing. Not because my life was empty. I had a family. I had a house. I had a history. But when he asked what I enjoyed, what I did for the pure pleasure of being alive, I realized I hadn't asked myself that question in decades. I used to play the guitar. Did you know that? When I was young, before Memphis got its claws into me, I could play. My mother used to say I had music in my hands. I played at church. I played on the porch on summer evenings. I played for Della when we were courting. Lord, she loved when I played. I stopped around 1969. I didn't have time. The guitar sat in the corner of the bedroom for about 8 years. Then Della moved it to the closet. Then we moved houses in 1981, and I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what happened to my guitar. I don't know what happened to the man who played it. That is what I mean when I say I built a life for a man who no longer exists. That man, the one with music in his hands, the one who could make Della laugh until she cried, the one who had dreams bigger than a job title, he got left behind. Not all at once, slowly, the way the river changes course. You don't notice it happening. You just look up one day and realize the water isn't where it used to be. I look at my hands now. They are 84 years old. They have worked. Lord, have they worked? But I cannot remember the last time I used them for something that made me feel alive. You think you are building a life, but ask yourself, honestly, whose life is it? Is it the life of the person you actually are, with the things that actually move you and matter to you? Or is it the life of a version of yourself you decided to become 20, 30 years ago, and never stopped to check whether that version still fits who you are today? Because I am telling you from the other side, you will arrive, you will get to my age, and you will either look at what you built and recognize yourself in it, or you will look at it like I did, like a house you built for someone who moved away and never came back. I have made peace with some things, not all of them, but some. I have made peace with Della leaving in 2009, not because she stopped loving me, but because I was never really present for the marriage we could have had. I was there in body. I was not there in spirit. She needed a husband, and I gave her a provider. Those are not the same thing. I understand that now. I have made peace with not being the father Marcus deserved. I cannot go back. I cannot have that Tuesday in 1978, but I called him last year, not at Christmas, not on a birthday, just a random Thursday in October. And I said, Marcus, I called because I love you, and I haven't said it enough. He was quiet for a long time, and then he said, Thanks, Dad. It wasn't a miracle, it was just a phone call, but it was real, and it was mine, and I made it. That is what redemption looks like when you're 84. Not grand gestures, small, true things, but here is what I have not made peace with. Here is the thing that still keeps me up at night 3 months after it hit me full force. I cannot tell you how many days I wasted. I cannot give you a number, because the days didn't feel wasted at the time. They felt full, they felt productive, and that is the cruelest part of all of this. You cannot see the emptiness while you are inside it. You only see it from the outside, looking back. That is the privilege and the curse of old age. You can finally see clearly, and there is not enough time left to do much about it. I am telling you this so that you can see it now, while you still have time to turn around. So, here is what I need you to do. And I am not asking. I am an 84-year-old man who has earned the right to tell you what I am about to tell you. So listen carefully. Stop building for who you were. Start building for who you are. Right now, today, I want you to ask yourself one question. If the version of me I'm working so hard for walked through that door right now, would I even recognize him? Would I like him? Is he still who I want to be? Because people change. The ambitions of a 25-year-old are not the ambitions of a 40-year-old. The hunger that drives you at 35 should not be the same hunger at 55. But most people never update the blueprint. They keep building the same house for a person who stopped existing years ago. And they wonder why, when they finally move in, it doesn't feel like home. I want you to think about one thing you have given up, one part of yourself you put away to make room for the life you thought you were supposed to build. Music, for me, writing, art, a friendship, a dream. Something that was yours before the world told you it wasn't practical. Get it back, whatever it costs, whatever it looks like to reclaim it at your age, in your circumstances. Get it back, because that part of you, the part you packed away, that is not dead, it is waiting. I know this because when I started playing guitar again last year, with a second-hand guitar my granddaughter found at a pawn shop in Memphis, my hands remembered. 60 years later they remembered. You are not too far gone. You are not too old. You are not too busy. You are, however, running out of time. So am I. The man you are building this life for, make sure he's still you. I am 84 years old. I built something for a long time, and I am telling you, from a chair in a quiet house in Memphis, Tennessee, with a second-hand guitar and one good hand, and whatever days God still sees fit to give me, it is not too late to build something real. But you have to start today, not when the mortgage is paid, not when the kids leave, not when things settle down, today. Because the man you're building for won't wait forever. He's already changing. Don't lose him. And if this voice, this old, tired, grateful voice, is one you want to hear again, subscribe to this channel. I am not going to be here forever. None of us are. But while I am still here, I intend to tell you everything I know, every truth I paid for, in years and silence and Tuesday evenings I can't get back. Subscribe, because the next story might be the one that changes how you spend tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning is all any of us ever really has.